On this nice, crisp fall day. If you could please stand with me and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for Reverend Murphy to come to the blessing.
Pray with me, would you? We're so grateful that we live in a land where we can exercise our freedoms. We thank you, God, for your blessing over this country. We pray that you continue to unite our hearts. Thank you, God, for our city. Thank you for our schools, for this meeting that we share together. Bless us, I pray. Lead us forward by your grace in all things. May the food that we share nourish and strengthen us so that we may continue to serve you well. In your name we ask. Amen.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the dignitaries that we have in the room. We have Mayor Ben Romanet, all the way in the back. We have City Business Administrator Joe Couchy. We have members of the Board of Education, Board President Kimberly Carty, Board members Debbie Malone, Jeff Lambert, and Michael Beatty. Millville Public Schools Superintendent Matthew Mazzoni, and his team of administrative. Thank you to our growing list of corporate partners. There are diamond sponsors, ARC International Durand, Millville Savings Bank, Ocean First Bank. To our gold sponsors, Mintz Insurance, Allen and Associates. Silver members, Inspira Health Network, The Authority, the City of Millville, South Jersey Gas, New Jersey Motorsports Park, and Christie Funeral Home. Give them all a round of applause. And of course, a huge thumbs up, as always, every month. They do a great job to the administrating and staff here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park for all they do for our organization and community. Another round of applause for them. And a special thanks to today's luncheon hosts, Gary and Betty Galloway. Gary, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, Colleen.
You're very welcome.
Welcome, everybody. My fellow board members, Mr. Superintendent, Patrick, Jane, congratulations. Let me tell you how my day started today. 6:30 this morning, I get a call from Deanne Cavella. Do you have your speech ready? I said, what speech? She said, well, you're the host and you're expected to speak. So I'm thinking, I don't have a speech. You know, I just pulled something out of my repertoire. That's not what you expected me to say, but, you know. So I'm thinking, what am I going to say? So we're honoring the Christie Funeral Home. And I thought, you know, I got to relate somehow. So I know a guy who was a funeral director for Wainwright Funeral Home from 1969 to 1981. They're all the embalming, the restoration.
Really acknowledge them enough. And we want to make sure that from now on, when we have events, you see these people, if they can help you grow your business or connect you to another business professional, not only in the city, but maybe across the region, please feel free to connect with them and ask them for support. And if you want to keep me in the loop, if you want to meet any of the businesses on this list today, and you're not quite sure who they are, where they are, all right, you can see me, and I would be honored to connect you with any professional in this room. So networking is an important part of building a business. Let's make sure that we give ourselves the best opportunity to do that. So if you see a business on this list that you say, I'd like to talk to this person, see me, and I will connect you with those individuals. So with that, let me tell you a little bit more about what's going on. First, for the men and women who participated in our inaugural golf event, we're happy to say that the commemorative hats are finally in. The delivery of the shirts, they were delayed due to a production issue, but I'm pleased to tell you that the shirts are expected by the end of the week. So here's what's going to happen. My lovely wife, Deanne, will be packaging the hats and the shirts together for each group. We will be in touch with the team captains to make you aware of when those packages will be accessible, and then we will look to either deliver that package to your business, or if you would like, they can be grabbed at the chamber office on High Street. So we're looking forward to that. We had hoped to have those items with the tournament, but production wasn't easy, and I think you'll be pleased, especially pleased with the hats, who were sponsored by De Palma Realty and National Highway Products. They're really nice hats, thanks to Mike De Palma, who personally chose the quality of the hats, so they're great. The shirts are being produced by Rob Bono at Greenview, so we want to thank him for that. It was quite a challenge for him. Production was way off, and he actually turned the original shirts aside because he didn't like the quality of them. So they reproduced them at a high quality. I love the shirts. If you have not received our 2024 Community Guide, you probably saw that there are copies just outside. Take one home. All right, the guide is, if you're not into the old print version of the Community Guide, it's available in digital form simply by going to the Chamber website and clicking the link at the top of the homepage. You'll see it right at the top. You won't have to search for it. This way you can either see that in PDF format, or you can download it for yourself. Next month's luncheon will be our holiday luncheon. Who in the group can tell me what the program is for next month?
High school choir.
High school choir. The first time ever in the history of the Millville Chamber of Commerce that we have hosted the high school choir. Oh, how many years have we been doing this?
18.
At least 18, if not more than that. But who here has never attended our holiday luncheon? I always ask this question. Everyone has? Okay, so you know what to expect. When you want to see the best of the best, come next month, because you will be overwhelmed with the quality of the music that these students present. You get a little tingle in the back of your neck, and it's spectacular to listen to. So you want to make sure that you want to mark your calendar December 11th. That will be our holiday luncheon right here. And with that, I would like to introduce Reverend Jonathan Murphy to present this month's Outstanding Citizens Award.
You already heard the announcement. The Christie Funeral Home has a long and cherished place in Millville. For over 126 years, it has been an established business, but much more. It's a place where grieving families can begin to find closure for their deep and intimate losses. For 4 generations, the Christie family provided leadership for this vital service. Most recently, Rebecca Christie became manager in 2015 after her father, Matt, stepped down, serving alongside her mother, Jane, until her retirement in 2020. In January of 2023, Patrick Reynolds and his business partner, Dennis McGee Jr., took ownership and have quickly connected to the community. Patrick Reynolds had an early introduction to the funeral business when his contractor father became an assistant at a funeral home where he had done work. Patrick is the oldest of 7 in a family with a strong faith, so serving as an altar boy gave him an aptitude for helping others in grief. Under his apprenticeship to Dennis, Patrick found his vocation and is still serving 21 years later. He believes in community involvement. In addition to having served as a volunteer firefighter for 14 years, Patrick has connected to our community. He is present at community events and quick to lend a hand. Most recently, Christie's has been the presenting host for Millville's Christmas Parade and participated in the Holly City Fest and Trunk or Treat, a unique and meaningful event to help grieving families was a holiday remembrance service in which they were presented with an ornament with their loved ones' names, finding comfort in the service and shared memories. In addition to being deeply involved in her daughter's education and events, Rebecca and her mother Jane have served our community through the funeral home and the Millville Women's Club with their many community and charitable events. Both have engaged in making a difference. Jane served as Cumberland County Freeholder, now Commissioner, on the Shade Tree Commission and the Cultural Heritage Commission. The stewardship of land has been an important part of both ladies' lives, along with neighborhood beautification, such as the fabulously flowering front porch project in the 3rd Ward, which they have sponsored for 6 years. One point of interest to all is a time capsule that was put in a memorial vault on the 100th anniversary of Christie Funeral Home in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Some of Millville's history will be revealed in its projected opening at the 150th anniversary in 2048. Patrick Reynolds and his wife hail from Burlington County and have a daughter. Rebecca is married to Captain John Wetstein at the Millville Fire Department. They have 2 daughters. In addition, we recognize Mr. Dennis McGee Jr., acting partner, and Sel Ilakwa, who was an establishment until his retirement for 47 years as an employee at Christie Funeral Home. And we want to honor all of you for your community presence and involvement. If you would come at this time for that recognition.
Sure she wants to say something. Sure she does. Sure she does. Patrick might want to say something.
Oh, what a nice honor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to the Millville Chamber of Commerce for recognizing Christie Funeral Home and my family. I know my dad, Uncle Paul, grandparents, and beyond. Please show that. Yeah. Congratulations to Patrick and Dennis, and thank you for continuing my family legacy. And finally, many thanks to the families that have trusted us with their loved ones' care during difficult times.
As Rebecca said, thank you to the Chamber for this recognition. Don't know that we deserve it, but we certainly appreciate it. Taking over 125 years of family tradition and service to the town is a daunting task, to say the least. We've done our best to try and continue that for Christine, and help out the city of Millville and try and make it a better place for everybody, all the families that we serve, everybody that we come in contact with, and I hope to continue that for years to come. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a short break, but just a quick comment. I know the board got together and you have a committee to determine outstanding citizen, and what resonated with this choice, and all our board members agreed, was what a long legacy the Christie family had left as far as community service and volunteerism. But despite change of ownership, that commitment has been expanded. We haven't lost it. So the Christie family is still out there. Jane, the entire family are always committed to the community and always doing things, and you folks know that. The new owners are just as great to the city, right? They bought into the Holly City They enjoy being here. We enjoy having Patrick on our board because, I'll tell you what, he's a visionary, he's enthusiastic, he loves this town. So to the entire group, what a great legacy you are leaving. You have left, you're building. So thank you again on behalf of the board. Our future presentation will occur in a few minutes. I think we're going to bring in the next course. And Mr. Superintendent, the stage is yours in about 8 minutes.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey. Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey. Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Sir.
We're good to go? All right, we will continue our program at this point. We have a great presentation, a fantastic speaker, the new superintendent of schools, Matthew Mazzoni. A little background information. The Millville superintendent of schools, Matthew Mazzoni, is a 2000 graduate of Atlantic Cape Community College, where he received an Associate of Arts degree. He graduated at Rowan University in 2002 with a concentration on disabled and special education student teaching. He went on to receive a doctorate of education in 2017 from Rowan University in educational leadership and administration. A graduate of Buena Regional High School, he was originally employed as a teacher in the Buena School District. He was named an elementary school principal in the Mullica Township District, a role he filled for almost 8 years, from October of 2010 to June 2018. He was then superintendent of Folsom School District from July 2018 to August 2022, before becoming a member of the administrative team in the Millville School District. He assumed his current role as superintendent on September 1st, 2024. The superintendent is also on the executive board of the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. He and his wife, Kate, are the proud parents of 4 children. Mr. Superintendent, welcome. We look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's a pleasure being here. So I think it was September at the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon, and Jerry came to me and was like, Matt, would you like to say a few words today? And I was like, yeah, that works. And then he's like, let's hold off on it. I was like, all right, just a few words. And next thing you know, I'm getting a lot of emails and this presentation. So I should probably just gave the few words at that moment. But here we are. So thank you, Jerry, for letting me speak. And again, I don't like speaking about myself, but I'm going to speak on, as the leader in Millville and the great things that we're doing. So, hopefully we're back in, in March or April, and we can do state of the district, and I can have our administrative team talk at that time. So I know we had our board members that were introduced, but I would like to introduce our school leaders that are with us today. So taking a picture right here is Meg Finney. She's our public information officer. So Meg does a wonderful job. Let's put our hands together for her. Next, probably the most important person in the district is the money guy, right? That's important, what we're doing, making sure that our vision, mission is being followed through. So that is Mr. Rich Davidson. I've been fortunate to work with Mrs. Stephanie DeRose the past 2 years as an assistant superintendent and now in this role. And Stephanie is a Buena grad, so we go back and we have a lot in common, and I appreciate all of her efforts, everything she does. So let's put our hands together for Stephanie. And now we have our new assistant superintendent. Was just named on November 1st, but maybe he's familiar to you in Millville, and that's Mr. Bobby Barber. And one of the things that we want to start doing is, it's important that the district's here, but we also want to expose our school administrators to the great happenings in Millville. So every month we're going to have a different principal join us, and this month we have principal of Lakeside Middle School, Miss Amanda Gaunt. All right, and before we go further, again, I was like, Jerry's sending me these emails. There's, 60 people coming. I was like, all right, we got to get ready for this. And then Jim Quinn reached out and said he's taping it. So thank you for Jim Quinn and Quinn Broadcasting for all that he does for our district and being here. And also, who's the sponsor behind that is Mr. Rich Allen. So thank you, Rich, for promoting all of our programs on Quinn. So thank you once again. All right, so let's get started. So who am I as a person? I always say before I'm a school leader, because this can be all taken from me. So family is first and foremost for me. And I had a late start into this family thing. As you heard my resume, I've been busy in education, right? And then, so I got married later in life. But the second we got married, I think we've been married for 8 years and we have 4 kids. So my poor wife, Kate, and you can see a picture of our daughters up there. So we have Josephine, she is 7 years old, and then we have Alex, that is 5. And Madison over here, today is her birthday, so she turned 4. They look like twins almost. And then baby Grace. So Grace is 10 months. Today she's 10 months. So everybody's going to say, you're a dad, you're a girl dad, 4 girls, right? So I'm never going to retire, right? We're going to keep working. And I do not have plans, my wife and I don't have plans of having another child for the boy. So I just want to get that out there. We're very happy with that. You know, a great story. So when I was a child, best friends with the Speziali family. I don't know if you're familiar, Bart Speziali, you know, the late Bart. And I was always in awe with him, you know, vice president of Sun National Bank. And I'd be at the house and I'd be like, you know, Bart, tell me about, you know, these big meetings that you're going to. I want to learn more about this. I was this young guy. And he said, Matt, it would always start by everyone would introduce themselves at the table. And he said somehow he would always be last, and everyone would give their credentials about all the great things and wonderful things and the titles that they have. And they would get to him, and he would say, I'm just a farmer from Violent. Right? And that has always stuck with me because that's a lot of my story. So I grew up, born and raised in Buena Vista Township, on a flower farm. So my dad and his brother were flower farmers on Vine Road, if you're familiar with that. So, you know, we could have stayed on the farm, but my dad pushed us to go and get that education. So I have a twin brother who's a New Jersey State Trooper. And I have an older sister who's a social worker in Vineland Public Schools. So you can imagine what Thanksgiving dinner is going to look like, right? So you got from all gamuts of that conversation. So, you know, that's how I lead. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those important factors because everybody's here is like, who's Matt Mazzoni, you know? So I do want to talk about the vision that I have from that leadership standpoint. But, you know, like Jerry said, I was fortunate. I was a young administrator. I don't even know how it happened, but you know, people are brought into your life that put you in those leadership roles. And that was Superintendent Dr. Diane DiGiacomo. She was in Buena, and you know, I just gravitated to her. She was a great woman, and I still remember one day, because when you grow up in a farming community, you get done education, it's 3 o'clock. I don't know about you, but I could not go home working in a farming community. So I was like, I'm not getting caught being seen at home. I need to continue working. So I went back to college and received my master's in education. And then this grant comes up, and Diane DiGiacomo comes in my classroom. I'm teaching special education, and she said, Matt, I got the perfect job for you. We're going to put you in this role. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. I remember the teacher's like, don't do it. You're going to lose tenure. You know, don't trust these grants and whatnot. But I did put my trust in her. And I still remember she needed a title for that position. So she's like, we're going to call you the principal. So I was like 25, 26 years old, and now I'm the principal of this program in Buena. And again, just from that, it opened all these doors. But so I was born and raised in Buena, and I taught in Buena. I was a young administrator. I was a principal in Buena. And I still remember when my mother was the secretary in the same building that I was principal. I still remember I had a hard conversation with one of the teachers, but my door was open. My mom walked into the office. I think she was grabbing a piece of candy or something. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing here? So I can tell you from that day forward, I knew that for me to grow as an educational leader, I needed to leave Buena, right? I needed to get out of there. And it's taken me in a wonderful many years. So I went to a place called Mullica Township Elwood, outside Mays Landing, so forth, outside of Hamilton. And I was there for 7 years. I started as a middle school principal and then became principal of the middle and elementary school. And then, like Jerry said, I received my doctorate. So I am passionate about education. I'm passionate about being an instructional leader and what that looks like, because I always struggled with, being a young administrator, and I'm not the most glamorous. I'm not going to go on social media and say, wow, look at all the great things. I'm this great leader. But if you're on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, you see that. Everyone's promoting themselves. So I struggled with that in my role. So I did my whole research on how to define a principal as an instructional leader. And it's not about just taking pictures of yourself and saying that you're wonderful. Okay, and I'm going to unpack what that looks like and what I'm trying to do here in Millville. So, number one, and I didn't talk about, is that team mentality. So I grew up as I went through. I went into education because I wanted to be a football coach. Chuck Donahue was my role model. So he coached me at Buna. I wanted to be Coach Donahue. And these were some of those things that I learned along the way, not just as a player, but as I started coaching. I coached in numerous high schools. So I take that same approach to when we're working as a whole. So we have 800 staff members in Millville. That's big, right? So we got to make sure that we're communicating effectively with everyone. I believe in a collaboration approach. So I can sit in my office and think that it's a good idea, and then that goes out there, and then it blows up in my face. So it's important that we're working alongside all of our administrators. You see our cabinet, many of our cabinet members are here. So we're constantly meeting, and they're not always the easiest conversations, as you know, running businesses. And again, schools is not a static environment. We're not making something that is constantly a repetition. So schools are dynamic learning environments. They're constantly changing. We are challenged every single day of what's coming in front of us. Students are met with challenges in the community that maybe we're never aware of. And every single day we're having conversations. I think just this week we said this is the first time we dealt with this, right? So it's a dynamic learning environment. So it's important for us to be flexible and be able to adapt to the changes that we face. And one of the other pieces that I'll talk more about continuous learning, but it's about that positive attitude, right? I'm a big Nick Saban guy. You guys like Nick Saban? Alabama football coach, right? It's about that mindset. You have to have a positive mindset because we are going to face those challenges. But as a leader, I have to set that tone for all of us that we're going to be champions for students. I'm going to motivate staff and be the role model. So I'm not just going to say it. We have to walk it every single day. And hopefully we're all doing that. Now, the other big piece to what I do is attention to detail. So we have to allow in education, so it can't be the conversation, well, in Millville, we did this 30 years ago, we should just continue doing that. Or, when I went to school, right, that worked, why don't you do that? So we're constantly taking that leap to what is the data leading us to? Okay, so we have so many programs in Millville that we're looking at our data to inform our decisions. That could be from our hiring practices, especially when it talks about student achievement. We have more programs, and I'll talk about the ARC reading program and all the different things we're doing with that. But data has to drive our decisions. The other piece I want to emphasize is, at the district, we're looking at policies and regulations all the time. So that's one of the things. I was fortunate, I was able to work under Tony Trungone for 2 years, and Tony was a great role model for me. And I remember the conversation he said to me about policies. And, we constantly talked football, and he said, allow the policy to be your blockers for you. right? So it's not Matt Mazzoni or Stephanie DeRose making these decisions. The policies are tied to our laws that govern how schools are run. So we have to familiarize ourselves with it, follow it, and build processes behind that. Now, this is the fun part. This is why, because you're like, where do I come in as, business owners right here in Millville? So I'm going to unpack our brand new strategic plan. This strategic plan was built by the work of our Board of Education members, by our teachers, by our community members, and by our administrators. And this was work that was done over one entire year. So I'm going to bring up different tenets of where you're going to fit in. And I can't say to you, hey, I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to lean on you for a few things today. But you may be sitting there and say, I want to get in schools, and I think I can offer something to help our students. So please don't hesitate after this how we can make those connections, because that's one of our goals, to do that. But in Millville, here's our vision statement. So we're empowering future generations by building on our legacy and embracing the future, right? So just take that for an instance. So what are we doing with that? So we know that we're moving forward, right? We can't stop that. If we think that we're going to just stop the growth, everything's going to pass us by. And we know the competition that we're facing, even in Cumberland County. There's some schools like CC Tech, they have programs or whatnot. There's more options for kids out there. So it's important that we're growing our programs here in Millville. So that's what we're doing, embracing the students for the future. But coming to Millville, I understand the traditions, the legacy that's behind it. And I'm going to tell a story later about, I'm going to save that one. But I got a story that just all ties that together about the wonderful, the traditions that happen in Millville. So coming here, I get to learn a lot of it and hear from wonderful people about how we can continue some of those processes. So this is a whole lot, this strategic plan. It's a beautiful picture here. But I'm going to blow it up. But there's 4 tenets that we want to focus on in our strategic plan. As you can see, we have aligned vision, to be a catalyst, transformation, and presence. So let's go through that a little bit. I take notes, but then I just go. So I'm going to try to pull them up here. But when we talk about aligned vision is going to be is processes and procedures. So it's important that teachers have an understanding of what is expected of them. You have to be clear in your communication. And we know businesses are never going to be successful if it's messy, right? So we are clear in what we're doing. What's our common goal in doing that? So some of the things that we have in place from that is the clear expectations. So we have partnered with Rutgers University. We're in year 2 in what we call positive behavior supports in schools. And that is taking it from students walking in the hallways, okay, cafeteria, so even into the classroom expectations. And it's about how we can build incentives of celebrating student successes in that, along with our teachers. So that's that clear piece of that. The other big piece of that is looking at our curriculum. And I'll give kudos to Mrs. DeRose, who's done a great job by leading our online platform called Atlas. So you've been in the conversations probably at the dinner table saying, I don't know what they're teaching in schools anymore, right? Have any of you been in that conversation? I'm always in it, all right? That curriculum is on the internet for everybody. So if you go to millville.org, you can see what is being taught at each grade level. So it's there. That has to be out there. But that curriculum has to be tight. We have 9 schools in the district, so there needs to be fidelity across the board. There needs to be that vertical articulation of how lessons build upon. So there's a lot of work being done in that aligned vision. So that's the work we're doing under that component. The other piece to this is the catalyst, right? So Millville School District has to be the catalyst that's going to prepare students for what we call endless possibilities. So when you look at academic excellence, we have done some great things. We brought in a brand new reading program. We're in year 3 of it, called the American Reading Company, ARC. All right, that has it's building love for students to read. So students have a number of books. They can be in their hands. They could be online. And we're constantly gauging if we're making progress. And we've seen students reading on grade level going from 15% of students starting 3 years ago in the district, 15% of our students were reading on grade level, to where we're ending near 50%. Right? I think we give a round of applause for that. Yeah. And it's not just in the program, and I'll talk about, and it's about the things that we're doing in supporting our teachers to make those goals. Because no program is going to drive that, right? That's just a piece to it. But it's about the teachers and administrators buying into those programs and getting the support through it. The other big thing from academic success is we've just implemented a brand new math program, Big Ideas, at the secondary level. And then let's talk about the focus on career technical education. And from a secondary standpoint, I had a conversation just here saying, I know when I went to Buna, I didn't know that there was even engineering out there. And I'm only 44 years old. So I didn't know engineering was even a job. That's hard to believe, right? So I knew there was farming, and I knew that I wanted to be a coach. That was it for the most part. Maybe a financial advisor, too. Donnie, that's what I really wanted to be in there. Yeah, maybe one day. But from a career technical education, we're constantly building our offerings for our students. So it's not just about the 4-year preparing them for college, but it's also, we have automotive right now. We have engineering. We have culinary. We have digital photography. We have a medical department. So there's so much we're looking to build off of ROTC programs. So we're constantly looking, construction, I'm just naming all of them. So we have so many offerings for our students. So we need them, we're exposing them to it, but we want them because that could be an endless possibility for them in their lifetime, right? That's going to open doors for them. So you may be sitting there saying, maybe I would like to tie into the school district and how we can do that. One other thing that I want to highlight as Amanda Gaunt's here. So we were fortunate to receive a $1 million grant, and this happened in July, and it was fast. And this program now, so it's not just at the high school, but it's at the middle school, this with NOLA Education. And it's a $1 million grant for 3 years. And what they did was identify teachers and students. So right now, 65 students are in our program, and it's a project-based learning approach. So it's hands-on. When you hear project-based, that means they're hands-on, not just all in a book. So we have received that grant, and we just had a ribbon-cutting ceremony yesterday that was wonderful with NOLA Education. So that's just one thing that you're hearing as Millville being the catalyst moving us forward. There's so much I can go on this one. Also, let's talk about community engagement. So as I spoke about Quinn Broadcasting supporting us, so monthly we're doing Inside the District. So it's important for us to be branding all the things that we're doing. So last month, did anybody get to catch the Inside the District that was done? So we featured the high school, and we had we did a whole piece with our principal, and we had our art teacher on who did a great job talking about the art program that we have. So that's just one piece. We do another thing that's on YouTube called Behind the Orange and Blue. So don't miss on those opportunities of how we're trying to engage our families. From a school end, we're constantly communicating through newsletters and messaging through our families. But we have our parent-teacher conferences coming up. So we're looking at opportunities to get our families into our schools, how we're communicating with them. But I'm going to reach out to you as community members. That's why I'm standing here, of how you can benefit us, right? So we have this audience. We have 5,000 students, but we want your assistance. And one of the things I can talk about in that is we are teaming up with True North Church, who's now moving to the old Sears building in Vineland, and they're sponsoring our families during the Christmas. So they have 27 families that they have adopted. So that's just one piece of how we can have that partnership. Same with Motorsports Park. So they've given us backpacks. So we're looking, they did coat drives before. So we want to lean on you at how you can support our students. So from a poverty standpoint, 80% of our students are coming from poverty. 80%. Right? So they need assistance. So we have the school end. We're able to educate, but there are resources that their families need. So if you have anything that you can support us with that, we would love that. Oh, wrong way there. Transformation, I would like to talk about from an infrastructure standpoint. And I know Tony Trongone has done a wonderful job with Wheaton Field. That's beautiful, right? So it can't stop there. So we're constantly looking at how we can make sure that our schools are equipped for the new age learning, right? Because we don't want those buildings falling apart as we're driving our instruction and supporting our students. So right now we have some projects going on. We have Rick Avenue. How many are Jets from here? Any Jets? Yeah. So we're flipping the school, so it's going to get a brand new vestibule in the back front of the school with offices. So that is finishing up. Hopefully that's going to be done within by the start of January. Also, we're looking at doing a project from a roofing standpoint. Our biggest project going on in the district is the HVAC system at Holly Heights. And you know, a lot to be thankful for. Hopefully you were at the tour last year at the high school, right? Hundreds of millions. What was that project? $150 million? $168 million renovation revamp of a high school. How many of you were able to go and visit and see the great, yeah, it's a beautiful building. And I can say 99% we're done. We're just finishing up a few of those pieces to that. Now, when you talk about transformation, you know, I always said, you may know the story of, you know, you have this vision and you're going. I said, you know, Mazzoni's got this vision. He's moving 100 miles an hour. And then I look back and no one's behind me. And they're like, we have no idea what he's doing, and we're going to continue with our own traditions, right? So with that said, we have to make sure that we're providing supports for our educators. So under that transformation, look at that. Recognizing the success of students correlates to the quality of staff. So the number one indicator to student success is what? What do you think it is? The teacher, right? That's it, right? So there's no research out there that's going to get rid of teachers. Right? So we know the teachers are the number one indicator to student success. We have to make sure that they're well equipped for that. We have to make sure that they're prepared and ready to do that. So we spend a lot of money towards providing PD and making sure that their needs are being met and that they can then reach our students. And with that, I'll stay in that realm when you talk about that safe haven, because this is under the presence, right? And we talk about that our teachers feel like this is home, right? We want Millville to be your home. So when you say, where are you at? We're home. Millville is going to be a home. This cannot be a stepping stone. And with that, staff wellness plays a huge part. And I know Mr. Davison and I have met with Allen Associates and talking about staff wellness, how we can support our teachers. Because there's a lot going on in Millville, and we want to make sure our teachers are well. Okay? We want to make sure that they're working at the highest level, that they feel good, that they feel like this is home, and that they're being supported. So we're doing a lot of health initiatives to support them through that process. That's our big goal in the district this year. The other piece with presence is safety, right? So if you can't call it home if you don't feel safe. All right, so we put a lot of money towards the safety of our buildings. So we have a contract with security, a security company, K&D. They're in all of our buildings, supporting our students and our staff. Scott Parvin is our chief of security. He does a wonderful job maintaining the safety in our schools. And as many of you know, we've taken a lot of measures at the football games. Right? Because we've had some situations outside where the games are located. There has been some things that are happening outside the fences. So we have to make sure that all of our students, our players, and the families that are joining us are safe in that. So I want to thank the Millville Police Department, the sheriffs, the prosecutor's office, the state police. So we've teamed up with a lot of different departments. We even brought the New Jersey Department of Ed out to go through our processes. So I can tell you we take it very serious, and that we do a great job in keeping everyone safe at that point. Now, the last piece I want to talk about is building that strong partnership with you. So I talked about how we're going to do it with our families, but you as businesses, you as community members, we want to do business with you. I do not want to see where the school is a separate entity from what's happening in the community. And it could start by just inviting me and any of our members to sit in your business and hear about what's happening, or if you want to sit at the table. But let's work on having that relationship. And many of you probably are already saying, I seen Matt at this meeting or whatnot. I'm trying to set up, working with Mayor. Ben does a great job, and already sitting with him, taking tours of the building. That's important to me, important to our district. The same with Chief of Police. So we want to strengthen all those relationships. All right, now for my story when we talk about tradition. So I'm going to close with this. So on the first day, I was like, what story am I going to tell to 800 staff members? Okay, so it was my first day. I think I was just approved, and it was my first day. 800 members out there. And it was a story that I found talking about Gabby Gabreski, okay, and the Thunderbolt. So do you guys know who Gabby is? Please tell me. All right, so Gabby, a little bit. So this is the story. So Gabby Gabreski was one of the most decorated pilots during World War II. He had 28 aerial assault wins. So he was recognized as one of the top aces, okay? And then but his plane of choice was the Thunderbolt. And where was the P-47 Thunderbolt? And where did they receive training on that Thunderbolt? Right here, between 41 and 45, okay? So I tell this story on the first day to all the staff, and a little bit of it goes like this. So Gabby Gabreski, most decorated fighter pilot around. But on this one instant during World War II, a Nazi plane is behind him, and he comes under fire, and it takes out his turbocharger, right? So now the plane's on his rear. He has to drop down to a low altitude, and he's able to get the engine started, right? So now this plane's chasing him and so forth. But Gabby never gave up, right? So he lost his turbocharger. His plane is riddled with bullets, but he's able to continue to fight, right? And same goes for that Thunderbolt plane. So that plane, that's why it's the most notorious plane. There was faster planes, but everyone loved the durability of that Thunderbolt plane. So Gabby was able to get to a safe landing area and was able to return to American base. And I told that story because I said sometimes in education, we're not always going to win, right? It's hard. 5,000 students, a lot of moving parts. Things aren't always going to work our way, but we have to maintain that we believe in that we can be the best thing that we can, right? We can, if we fall, we're going to pick ourselves back up, right? We're going to work as a team, and we're going to be better for the next day. So that's what we believe, and that's what I continue to say. So I tell this story about Gabby. I mean, I told this story forever. I love this Gabby. Well, Bob Trivellini comes to me last week, and he said, Matt, I just want to let you know. I told that on September 1st or September 2nd, and he said, Matt, I just want to let you know. Gabby Gabreski, you know, he was here. It was a big ordeal, and he came, and he signed a picture for the football team. And I said, you have to be kidding me. How did I not know this? So now we have this picture hanging up in our conference room. So Gabby Gabreski wrote, signed this letter, said, best of luck to our Thunderbolts. This was the 1991 football team. So I just think when we go back to talking about where we're going, but talk about the tradition, right? We don't want to lose that. So hopefully I'm the right person that's going to drive this whole, the Thunderbolts plane and move the district in the right direction. So I thank you for letting me speak today. And I think I'm going to open it up if I can answer any questions for anybody. Yeah.
Would you talk a little bit about the 80% poverty?
Yeah.
What can we do to help with that?
Yeah, I think sitting down and that's a great question of how you can shift that, because there is a lot of poverty here. So I'm sure sitting down with City Council and how we can have a bigger conversation of how we can support growth in the community, what those businesses look like, more opportunities for families to work. Huge number. Is it our last 80%? Yeah, 80%. Yeah. 80%, I think even we had more students, they even qualified more this year. But just knowing that when we have such a high rate, we rely on state aid for the state, so we do get funding for particular students. Yeah. Any other questions I can answer for anybody? Comments? All right. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Mazzoni. That was very informative, and hearing about all the wonderful things that you and your team are doing. We want to congratulate to the Christie family and new management at the funeral home for your great work across the community. An award well deserved, so thank you again. So, Deanne is going around one last time to make sure everybody has their card in, because we're drawing for 2 free lunches. And remember, next month is our holiday lunch on December 11th, so make sure you mark your calendars for that. Everybody good? Now you can draw.
Gary Galloway.
Gary Galloway.
You're welcome.
That was worth the 6:30 call this morning.
So Gary will have to bring a guest next month. That's what that means.
Thank you.
And the second is Rachel Seaman from TD Bank. So once again, I want to thank everybody for coming to our November lunch. Remember to mark your calendars for December 11th for our holiday luncheon. It's an awesome time. The choir is great. You'll have a really special luncheon that day. Have a great day. I know it's a little cool, but try and get there and enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh my God. People are going to say that.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.